Hello everyone and welcome back to Living Survival. My name is Ben, and in this video today we're going to take a look at a Casio smartwatch, and we're going to talk about smartwatches in general. I'm going to show you how to set this particular one up and how that compares to some of the other popular smartwatches out there. We're going to go over some of the features. They're pretty similar across the board, so we're going to talk more in depth about that, go over the specs of this particular smartwatch, and then by the end of this video hopefully answer the question of, do you need a smartwatch or should you buy a smartwatch? So for the past few years I've been using this Garmin Phoenix 3. I believe they're up to the Phoenix 6 now, and again, Garmin makes smartwatches now, Suunto makes smartwatches, then of course you have the Apple Watch, and you have several companies like Samsung that have a smartwatch as well. This one does not have the touchscreen. It has a monochrome screen that works really great in sunlight. You can see it's sort of dark here just in normal room light. You can of course change the colors, but what I really like about this Phoenix 3 is that it has a sapphire display on it. And sapphire, I believe, is the hardest mineral next to diamond, and you can see that this bezel is super scuffed up, and the screen has absolutely no scratches on it after years of use. Now this watch is pretty outdated. Garmin is up to the Phoenix 6, Suunto is up to the Suunto 7, and I believe Apple Watch is up to the Apple Watch 5. So those are the three that we're sort of going to talk about today and compare those with the ProTrek from Casio. Now I have had this watch for several months, but I went ahead and reset it to default so we can sort of walk through the setup process, not only to show you the setup process on this, but to sort of give you some background on how it works to pair these with your phone and what you can do with these advanced smartwatches today. So this is the F21HR. This actually has the heart rate built in, so you can see that the case is quite big, especially if you compare it to my Garmin. The screen size is about the same, but the actual bezel and case of the watch is much thicker, and I believe that's due to probably the heart rate function in there. I know with the Apple Watch you can get them in several different face sizes. I believe this is the same size face as the Suunto 7, and the Phoenix 6 is real similar as well. On the Casio here you have a mapping button, you have a power or mode button, you also have an app button on the side, and then this side you have the magnetic charging port. I do like the magnetic charging port because this is fully water sealed. You can take this underwater, I believe up to 50 meters, so that's pretty good. It is mil spec as far as being dust and water immersion proof, so it does have the magnetic charging there, which is nice. We're going to go ahead and power it up here just by holding the power button on the side, and that should get it up and running. Again, this has a full-blown color touchscreen. It actually has a dual layer screen, so it's got a monochrome screen that works in low power mode or if you're not actively using the watch, and then it's also got the full-blown color screen. Now as far as runtime on these watches, when you're using the GPS and the apps, for example, you're going to get about a day or a day and a half, and that's going to be the same on this particular watch as well. In standby mode or low power mode, I was able to get up to a week with it just showing the time and date, and I believe you can even put it into an even lower battery saver mode that may get you up to a month. So as it boots up here, we'll talk a little bit more about this watch. It does use the Wear OS app or Wear OS software from Google. This and now the new Suuntos use that as well. Garmin has their own setup built in their watch, and then of course you have the Apple OS, which is built into the Apple Watches. Resolution on this particular touchscreen is 320 by 300, so it is quite a crisp screen. The Suunto rocks an even crispier screen with the 454 by 454 resolution, and the Garmin is a little bit less at 260 by 260. So in addition to the other sensors on this watch, there is a heart rate sensor. That's something that you're going to pay a little bit more for when you're looking for the different models or the different levels between these brands. This one does have the full-blown heart rate sensor. It's not something that I really need. A runner, for example, may really want the heart rate sensor. I'm more into hiking and backpacking, so I'm really using the mapping features, the notifications, and just having an extension of my cell phone that I don't have to pull out of my pocket. And then generally these will connect to your phone via Bluetooth, and you can even share the Wi-Fi. So we're going to go ahead and tap to begin on this, and the first thing that it's going to tell us to do is set our language. So we can scroll down and you can see how nice and fluid the touch screen is here. There's no lag really. On the phone here, we can go ahead and load up that Wear OS software, and we go ahead and start the setup here. It's going to ask me to agree to some terms. I'll go ahead and agree with those. We're going to enable Bluetooth sharing, and then it's going to say connect your watch. It did pop up my watch code in there, so now it's going to go ahead and pair with the watch. I did find this process pretty smooth. As you can see, it already found itself. The numbers match on both, so I'm going to go ahead and confirm that. So now we're connected, and it's going to go ahead and just download things back and forth from the phone, and it's going to configure the setup and finalize that setup as well. And then it wants you to log in with a Google account. That part I can skip. I can skip adding my events in my calendar. I can skip the notifications, and I can skip chatting with friends. You can also share your phone's location with the watch. It helps make the GPS even more accurate, so I'll go ahead and enable that, and then it's going to go ahead and complete the setup. Once the app is connected to your phone, you can enable things like Google Fit or other apps such as music apps. You can change particular settings on your watch as well, and I think that's pretty standard across the board for smartwatches that would connect to a smartphone. Generally, they're going to have some sort of an app that allows you partial or full control of the watch, as well as syncing it up and using the watch as sort of an extension of your cell phone. So after going through the very short tutorial on the watch itself, showing you some of the functions here, you go back to the standard monochrome display. Now this is a part of their dual screen display. This is the monochrome version. This is a power saving display, but it also works really well in bright sunlight. And then of course, if you hit the watch, or it comes awake when it's tilted, you can see the full-blown color version of the screen there. Now you can swipe in all four directions here to do several different things with the watch. So we can swipe here to the left to get to your tiles. The first one is Google Fit. I have weather on here. You can add different tiles and you can reorganize those. Gives you a quick and easy access to those apps instead of having to go into your app button here and then going and scrolling down to your apps that way. So again, you can connect to the Play Store and you can download all different types of apps, and you can set those up as a tile that you can get to with a quick swipe left. We can swipe here to the right. That's going to give you things like different events and alerts. So you can swipe down to get to several different shortcuts, including the full-blown settings. By clicking the gear here, you can see that you can get to all different settings. There's a do not disturb mode. There's an airplane mode. There is a find your phone mode, which is cool. There's a power saver mode, so that'll turn on your battery saver. I was able to get up to a week with it running in just that monochrome display, which is this display here. We can go ahead and wake that back up, but it'll run up to a week with that display there. And then we can, of course, again, go to the full-blown settings where you have display, apps and notifications, different connectivity, accessibility, personalization, storage, and then you can go ahead and master reset it. And then you can swipe up from the bottom, and that's going to give you your notifications. So if you have notifications enabled to the device, it'll get your text messages, it'll get your emails, it'll get Facebook notifications. I generally will turn that off just to save battery life. Again, I'm really just using this as an extension of my phone so that I don't have to pull it out of my pocket. So when I'm hiking, for example, I want to be able to look at a map real quick on my arm. And then on the bottom there is the app button. Now that is the built-in apps that come with this device. Again, Garmin's going to have their own built-in apps. The built-in activity apps here, such as running and trail running and trekking and fishing and cycling, they're all going to show different specs depending on the activity that you're doing. So I could select running here. I could select start. Now it is going to try to connect to GPS. I am indoors, so I'm just going to go ahead and hit that start button here. It's actually trying to track my heart rate. You can see the sensors come on there, and it's going to give me a countdown. It's going to start. It's going to, give you things like your time, your distance, your pace. Within the app, there's several different screens. If you just hit the app button again, it's going to give you even different layouts. I believe you can customize those as well. It's also going to give you a map if you choose to pull that up. You can change different settings within the app using the settings button here. There's all sorts of different settings you can change depending on the activity that you're doing. So you can really sort of tailor this or customize it to the individual app that you're using on the watch. Hitting the side button brings you into sort of the mode that connects with your phone and all the things that you can do there. So I can connect to I can find my phone, I can go into the main settings, I can go into the Play Store, which I can get apps that are compatible with this watch, things like music apps, for example. This even works with the View Ranger GPS app, which is kind of cool. Again, that's going to vary depending on the brand of watch that you're using. I've got an alarm, I've got my contacts, I've got my Google Fit, all sorts of workout stuff. There's a flashlight, reminders, again, timers, all sorts of stuff, weather, and depending on which one you click, that's going to move up top, which is pretty cool. And again, you can see just how quick and easy and how nice it is to scroll through that. So I don't find it being laggy at all. We could go into the stopwatch here, for example, and you could use that just, you know, again, as a normal stopwatch. We can go ahead and set that. So you've got a nice display on here, nice and easy to read. So it's going to have your basic settings that, you know, most smartwatches are going to feature. And then you're going to have those extended apps like the mapping, like the music, and everything else that you can connect to with this device. Most smartwatches will enable you to change the watch face. You can do the same thing here by holding it down. It goes into several different watch faces here that are preloaded on the watch here. And of course, you can download different watch faces depending on your personal style. I like just the normal basic one here, and of course you can configure that differently. This one has the amount of steps that I've taken. Of course, it has the time and the date. It'll display your heart rate depending on which mode you're in. It's going to display different things, and then when it times out, it's going to go right back down to that monochrome display to save battery. So hopefully this video has helped you further understand more about smartwatches and what they can do. I myself love using the hiking app. I like to save points, I like to set points and hike to them, all of which you can do with this particular watch. Now you can do it without being connected to your cell phone. You can download the maps prior when you get to your location in case you don't have service. Usually it's going to use your cell phone to give you the most pinpoint accuracy when you are running or when you are hiking. Now, if you typically just go to an office and work, maybe go to the gym and work out, something like a Fitbit or maybe even an Apple Watch may be what you're looking for. If you spend a lot of time in the outdoors, however, you might want something a little more rugged and look at the sapphire displays from Phoenix, or just the rugged nature of the Casio smartwatches. Of course, they do make their G-Shock watches, which are really, really durable. They're mil-spec in most cases, and so they've put some of that technology into their Pro Trek watches. You can see that it's got a big beefy case on it, and it's going to be able to take some abuse as well as being waterproof and dustproof. I like the dual layer display on the Casio. That gives you the nice monochrome display when the sun is shining bright, but it also gives you that nice bright color display. As I mentioned earlier, I believe the Suunto has a little higher resolution, and the Phoenix watches have a little bit lower resolution. All in all, though, they do share a pretty similar screen size. Of course, the Apple Watch is more rectangular in size, so it just comes down to your personal preference as to which watch you buy. Now, you're going to spend about $500 to get into a full-featured smartwatch that includes the heart rate, no matter what brand you go with. So again, hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. If you have any questions, make sure you leave me a comment below. And also, if you use a smartwatch, let me know in the comment section below what you guys use that for. Make sure you give this video a big thumbs up for me. Leave me that comment in the comment section below. You can share this video to any friends or family on your social media. And if you haven't already done so, please click that red subscribe button and that notification bell to be notified of new videos.